I want you to take a serious look at this photo. Look at it closely. I'm going to zoom in just a bit more and really let you take it in, because this is exactly why we're having the discussion we are today about the tremendous need we have in the United States for living donors. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Burrell, and today we're going to be talking about what I believe to be a very, very important topic, and that is the topic of becoming a living organ donor. And this is really something, I'll admit, we're going to be talking about more and more as time goes on during 2019, because although we oftentimes talk about raising awareness as far as organ donation, more times than not, we're talking about the deceased donor. We're talking about someone who decides to register to donate an organ because if it comes that their life should cease this side of eternity, that them and their family could know that they want to give their organs or the gift of life to someone else who is certainly in need. And when it comes to hearts and lungs, organs like that, like I had the gift to receive, that's the only place those organs can come from is from the deceased donor. But when it comes to things like a liver, or especially when it comes to things like kidneys, there are numerous opportunities now, and technology is getting so much better for the living donor and the living recipient to get the gift of life given from one individual to another. And I think that's really almost like the ultimate gift there, to be able to give someone something that you are still using basically and hand it off and allow them to use it so they can have an improved life, if not a longer life as a result. So with that said, I really want to focus in today on the kidney transplant, the living donor transplants, that sort of thing, and point out some statistics to you that make this very, very important. Okay, and while I'm reading most of these statistics, I'll try not to bore you too much. I'll try to put a few things on the screen, some covers and such, to give you something to look at better than me, at least for most of it. So let me read to you some information that comes from the National Kidney Foundation. I'll put a link in the description below this video. You can go check it out for yourself. But here's what it says. It says there are currently 121,678 individuals waiting on the transplant list in the United States alone. Of that number, listen carefully, 100,791 of those people await kidney transplants. Okay, so let that sink in. Well over half, at least 2/3, 3/3, 3/3. I don't know the statistics. Most, you might even say, of the current people waiting to get an organ transplant, most of those people are in need of kidney transplants. It goes on to add that the median wait time for an individual to get their first kidney is somewhere in the neighborhood of 3.6 years. Okay, so that's a longer wait time than most other organs. Okay, hearts and lungs, yeah, we have wait times, but they're not usually to that extent. Okay, livers can have some hard wait times as well, but nonetheless, 3.6 years you might wait on your first kidney. In 2014, there were more than 17,107 kidney transplants that took place in the United States. 11,570 of those came from the deceased donor. Okay, so yeah, deceased donors, just like for other organs, sometimes that's where these things come. Of that number as well, 5,537 came from the living donor. And that's where we're focusing our attention on today. You add up and fast forward, look through a few different numbers, a few different more current numbers at least. You'll find out in 2017, so just a couple of years ago, we actually hit an all-time record for the number of kidney transplants performed in a single year, reaching that 30,000 kidney transplant mark. You say, well, Jim, that's great because you just gave us statistics from 2014 that said there were 17,107. So if we've gotten to 30,000 kidney transplants, that's almost double. And so that's much, much better. Well, yeah, it is. And I'm glad that we've done that. And I think a lot of that has come from an increase of basic organ donation awareness overall. A lot of that has come from people who are living donors. But here's where the problem comes in. Listen to the next set of numbers. Currently, over 3,000 new patients are added to the kidney transplant list per month. Not annually, not per year. 3,000 people are added to the kidney transplant list per month. Now, we already said there are more than 100,791 waiting. Imagine 3,000 per month being added to that, with just a portion of that being subtracted because, they get the organ that they need. That really reminds me how important it is that we get basically get the word out that there are more ways to donate than signing up at the local DMV, going on some online registry, which I always encourage you to do. I always encourage you to tell your families about your decision. Those are all decisions, and usually from the perspective of, if something happens to me, a tragedy occurs, I die in a tragic accident or, from something, then my family and I will be able to donate my organs and save a life. That's great. Please, please do that. But there's still a huge pocket that could be filled, a huge void that could be filled with living donors, especially when it comes to kidneys, that I want to encourage you to consider. Okay. Now, I've actually been thinking about this lately. I've been digging around doing some research as far as myself. I'm a current heart transplant recipient. I'm doing some research, and I'm going to get back with you on that as to whether or not I might could donate my kidney to help someone out, whether it might be worth the risk, or whether it's even possible. By the way, if you already know something about that, start commenting below the video. Is it possible for an organ transplant recipient to in turn donate an organ, a living donor type organ? Is that possible? I would love to hear about it. Let me know what you know about it already in the comments below. But anyway, I've been actually considering that, thinking about that, and there's a few things that have inspired me. One is something I'm going to hopefully give a shout out to in a few weeks. I'm going to go ahead and mention it here. Linda Willis, a great friend of the program. Her husband, Mike Willis, is a little bit over 3 years post-transplant. They're Canadian. He's about 3 years post-heart transplant. He's been doing well. He's kind of gotten back to life. He understands much about there being good days, bad days, and such. But his wife, Linda, who, by the way, is my new hero, his wife, Linda, is planning, I think, maybe the 20-something, is it 22nd, Mike? I'm not sure. I should have looked that up. But the 22nd of this month, so about a week and a half, 2 weeks from the time of this recording, she's actually going to be donating a kidney to a friend of hers. And Linda, if you're watching this, I think that's tremendous. We need more people like you. We need more people like Linda who are willing just to, sit down, take the time, do the research, dig deeply, find out what this is about, and then go out there and give that gift of life. You don't have to be at the end of your life or, in these troubling, terrible, awful moments to donate life. You can do that right now as a living, breathing, healthy person. It's something at least worth considering. And again, I'm going to be looking into it. I'm not sure if the level will be something that actually comes up or I actually am able to do, but I'm looking into it because I know I have received so much from my gift. And in my mind, at least, the way that I think, I owe so much to the world. And what a better gift to give than possibly, at least, to give a part of me to share with someone else who is in need. Now, I'm going to talk more about this in the future. Again, I'm doing some research in it. I'm going to be coming back talking about some more. But I do know we have a huge, huge need in this country alone. Worldwide, surely, but even in this country, we have a huge need for those who need kidney transplants. And nearly all of those could be quickly filled if we could just drum up enough support and get enough people to say, you know what, I've got life, I've got health, and I can share it with others. Please consider doing that. Just think it through. Do your research. Help me do mine. And let's all live this life and share this life in the best way that we can. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, stay stronger, friends.